what I've been told is that the all of the activations from 11/11, the eclipses, and then the 12/12 was a preparation for today, because we're actually going into the birth of the new earth. Officially, we've been building up to it. We've been shedding old stuff. We've been raising our frequency. And now today is like the official transition into the new earth. Now, the planet went into the fifth dimension on 12/21/2012. You may remember the time shift, the Mayan calendar. Some people thought it was going to be the end of the world. Some people thought we were all going to wake up enlightened the next day, and were very disappointed when they find out, no, we're not. But what we've had this 9 years since then has been like a gestation period. They're just telling me this now, that we've been through we've been in the womb, we've been reconnecting our DNA, we've been having all of our stuff triggered so that we can release the shadow. In case you haven't noticed, that's what's been going on. Hasn't been an easy ride. And then today is when the two earths really separate. And this is what we're going to be working with in the meditation, that all of our old stories, all of the timelines, all of the karma from the old earth, from all of the lifetimes that we've had since the fall, which was the end of Lemuria, which was thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years ago. All of the stories that we've been playing that have been part of our soul's evolution are now ended. Today, karma ends and the old story ends. So very important to wipe those tapes, release all of those, anything that you're holding on to from the past, either from this life or from previous lives. And that's what we will be doing in the process of the meditation today. And then the other thing is that the new earth is separating. And so we're also going to be bringing in the codes for ourselves to live in the new earth, and for the whole earth to make this shift. And it's just a matter of frequency and vibration, that we have now to choose every minute of every day. Which reality am I choosing to dance with? Do I want to keep up the old stories? Oh, they did that to me 40 years ago and I'm really angry. Or what am I putting out now? What energy am I putting out now that is lifting this earth into love? So we've got to kind of make a discipline for ourselves to choose love, no matter what. And that is not an easy thing to do, being in these physical, human, emotional bodies that have all kinds of opinions about everything. So we have to learn to separate when your ego is drawing you to a place that is just continuing the story. And when your higher self is saying, hello, there's another way you can react to this. You don't have to go into the, nah, you did this to me, so I'm going to do this to you, and, you know, I'm going to hate you forever kind of thing, which it's how humans, especially families, often relate to each other. Now, it's very interesting when we come together like this in one of these portals, when the frequencies are all open, all the doorways are open, and the energy on the planet is lifted exponentially. I've told you this many times. Back in the 70s and 80s, the kilohertz of the Earth was 7 and 8. Now, on average, it's 14 or 15 kilohertz, so that's almost twice as much. That's why we've all been being compressed. We've been, the image they gave me was we've been pushed through a sieve, so that all of our old stuff gets stuck in the sieve, and all that comes through is the light. And that mesh on the sieve is getting finer. So even the deepest, darkest, hidden places are now being brought to the light, pushed through the sieve, so that we don't keep carrying all of this with us all the time. So now what's happening is that when these special days, when these portals are open, the kilohertz of the Earth spikes and it'll go up to 100. And that's why it is so important for as many light workers as possible to join together for these power times, to put our energies into the collective unconscious, where there's a lot of anger, there's hate, there's old religious stuff, there's cultural stuff, all the hatred and the judgment that's been inherited from generations. There's nothing to do with what's going on now. You know, in Northern Ireland, they're still fighting. They still talk about the Orange Men, the Battle of the Boyne, which was in 1600 and something. And they're still marching and keeping those enmities alive. And that's what we've got to stop. Like they did this to us on whatever level it is, whether it's personal, community, city, state, country, world. This is what we have to stop. So now it's very interesting. I don't know if you've heard of something called focused life force energy. It's called Fluffy for short. Those of you in Cincinnati might know, because one of my friends, I was hoping she would come today, but she hasn't, Audrey and Jeff, Jeff created this system of raising the energy, sending focused energy into your home to lift the energy into the highest state of consciousness, to maintain a frequency of love. Now, what they work from is this chart. It's a book called Power versus Force. And I only really recommend about 3 books. This is one of them, Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And the bit that is really interesting is this chart. There's a chart in it that tells you the state of consciousness that all the different emotions bring you into. Now, the lowest emotion on the chart, which is at number 20, the bottom, is actually shame. That is the lowest frequency emotion, which is surprising to some people, that shame and guilt are the lowest frequency. That means that they bring your energy down, they bring your consciousness level down. Now, where is it? Anger is 150. So anger is actually more positive than shame and guilt, because shame and guilt, you turn it all inside you and you beat yourself up and really undermine yourself. Now, anger, you're throwing it back to whoever threw it at you, which is actually a healthier response. But the what we're looking for here is a baseline of love, which is 500 on this. It's a chart of consciousness. 500 is what we're aiming for as the state that we're in all the time. Now, the Buddha and the Christ, they were at 700 to 1,000 on this scale. Now, I sent Audrey the recording of our 12-12 meditation, which many of you are here for. It recorded at 700. So that, I mean, I feel the energy, but I actually, it was a surprise to me that it was that high. So this is why it is so important that we take time out of our busy lives to just focus our energy, to raise our consciousness, because then that is what we are giving back. That is what we are then radiating to everybody, everyone that we touch, everyone that we talk to. So this is our job as light workers now, is just to be love in every situation, especially when people are not being very loving to you. To be able to go to the higher place and to see the pain that they are in, and to just love them anyway, love them despite of their behavior. And that's why we are here. It's why we are on the spiritual path, because we know that there is a higher place. It seems obvious, but not everybody actually is aware of that we always want to be being the best person that we can be in every situation. So today is all about the birth of the new earth, which was always in the plan. At the time of Lemuria, which I remembered when I lived in Hawaii, because Hawaii is part of Lemuria, and you can feel it when you go there. As soon as I stepped off the plane for the very first time, I knew that I'd come home. And I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what I'd come home to or why it felt like home. But then when I started doing my hypnosis, all of the sessions were my soul family from Lemuria. So that's where I got that information from. That as a collective, we chose to experience suffering and separation so that we would grow, so that our souls would evolve through overcoming challenge. But it was always written, fortunately, that there would be a time where we would come back, that the circle would come full circle, and that we would return to oneness. We would remake the connection with our own divine essence, which is how we did before. We cut the golden cord that connects us to our own divine source. And then we were lost. Then we were like a boat without a rudder. And that's where we've been for all these thousands of years. But this is the time when we reconnect that golden cord, and we'll be doing that today. And then we lift the earth back into love, peace, harmony, and tolerance, and forgiveness, and not having any judgment about anything. And that is that's not an easy place to be. So, but it's most important. So today, all over the world, groups are coming together, and we are going to reclaim the earth for love.